Hello, everybody. It is me, Everbiscatuzzi, here again with Citrus Review, Episode 4. So, I gotta give props to two scenes in this anime, and that would be the train scene where Yuzu and Mei are in the train together. That Yuzu is like really like shy, cutely trying to scooch next to her and stuff like that. That's very cute and very uh cool to see. And then also the scene where where like Yuzu is trying to get compensation for the kiss that she did last episode. So then she goes in for so then she asks like gets Mei to kiss her and then she starts freaking out. In the manga, they didn't show like her reaction. They only showed it from outside the house. How they do that in anime sometimes where they show reactions like outside the house and you see like the screen going in and out. But in this they actually showed her reaction and I give props to that because you're just like freak out and actually seeing the reaction for what it is. And then they also changed the opening this episode. Like they made it a little bit longer. They showed extra scenes and stuff like that because there was one scene where she's staring at May in the classroom and then she's like looking over at May like looking at her like all lovey-dovey and stuff like that. And then when she's shaking her head in the old intro, she shook her head and it showed May like sighing. But now in the intro, she shakes her head. The whole class looks at her and is like, "What is she doing?" And then May sighs because she's a part of it. So they made that a little bit longer. They also showed two new characters that are going to be introduced, I think, in the second book or maybe in the third book. But it's two characters that I actually really like. Their characters. They're pretty cute and pretty funny. And so far, this episode was the first chapter of book two. So I don't know how far this anime is going to go, but I guess the fifth episode and sixth episode, maybe even the seventh episode might be the second book. Then we might get to the third book, and then maybe. So basically, I think that this anime is going to end by the third or fourth book, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty cool to see the stuff that they're doing. There are some scenes that I'm there's a lot of context to because in the scene where she meets up with Himiko. I'm pretty sure that's her name, the girl with the drill hairstyle. In the manga, I thought that Yuzu met up with Himiko at her house, but then in the episode you see her go to an underground cafe. Like she went into a store, then she went down some stairs, I'm pretty sure, and then she goes to this very like shady restaurant, this very like over the top restaurant where they're like, "Yes, ma'am," and stuff like that. It seemed weird with that. And then we also get to see uh uh May's backstory, which is a backstory that is pretty common and stuff like that. In stories like these where she had grandpa issues a little bit, but now she has daddy issues, which is pretty common in most anime stories. Most of the time it's with moms, but it's with her dad, stuff like that. And the backstory in the manga was only one page, but in this, we got to see two scenes. The first scene, we got to see May's original personality before it changed, and then we got to see the aftermath. The aftermath is the one that's in the manga, but then they added the scene where she's being playful with Himiko. And I like the Mei thing. That reminds me of Digimon Adventure Tree, those movies, because there's a character in it called Mei, and then her Digimon calls her Mei Mei. So I just think of that and Mei Chan and stuff like that. So that's pretty interesting to see. And we got to see Yuzu struggle trying to understand Mei, and then I really hate Himiko's character. I really hate those characters that I hate her mostly because she's like trying to like throw Yuzu away even though that she doesn't know anything. It's the same thing that I was angry about with the grandpa until he understood. And I'm not gonna lie, even later in the manga, Himiko is still like I just hate her character because she's trying to like throw Yuzu out of the picture, even though that like I hate characters that or people in general in real life that like think that the person that their friend or something is only theirs, even though that you're allowed to have more than just one friend. And even though that if she loves her, but it's weird how she's just like, I'm gonna protect you. Oh look, I'm protecting you. But she tries to seduce May and they like cut it off perfectly like in the manga. But I thought that they were gonna like actually like show her push her and stuff like that, because that scene is still, I don't know how that scene went because it never gets mentioned. All we know is that it happened. We don't even know how far they went, even in the manga, even in this anime. I don't You never know. Like it's either you don't know if May pushed Himiko off of her or if like they actually started making out. It's really weird in that sense, but Next to that, we just had the full half of the episode with them with Yuzu like ditching Mei and also Yuzu's mom, and then like being like hanging out in Harumi's house, which is pretty cool because they like became best friends instantly, and I like their scenes together because it's pretty interesting to see their friendship and stuff like that, because that gets delved upon later on in the story. But right now we're just focusing on new characters and also just Yuzu and Mei's relationship and stuff like that. But there was one scene in particular when Yuzu was running away from Himiko's like tricks, and she's like leaving because she doesn't want to hear it. She's going to go back to Harumi's house, and then some of the reactions that they do in this anime, I'm not really interested in. I think I said this in my last review. Some of the reactions, they don't show the emotion that I felt in the manga, because like in the scene where Mei is like run where Yuzu runs into Mei, and also the scene where at the end, towards the ending of the episode, where Yuzu is trying to confront Mei with the Himiko situation. In both of those scenes, like Mei shows a lot more emotions, because when Yuzu and Mei run into each other in the early parts of the episodes, in the middle of the episode, like Mei like has a shocked face like Yuzu, but instead she just has the same cold face. For some reason they didn't want to, I guess, animate her shocked face being like, "Oh, I ran into Yuzu too," but instead she shows a normal reaction. And same thing with the scene where they're in the bathroom when Yuzu is confronting Mei. When Yuzu starts crying and starts walking away, Mei actually has a reaction in the manga, but for some reason in the anime they're just like, Mei doesn't have any reactions yet because she doesn't share the same feelings yet, or she's just like no emotion. She's no emotion girl. And even though that in the manga, like she does have breaking points and stuff like that, especially when in the early parts of the episode where she was like going hard on Yuzu, which is which is good at the start, but they're starting to understand each other little by little, and you can clearly see by the end of the episode if Himiko wasn't there, the relationship would be going on. But you need to have some plot devices with Himiko trying to get in there, because I think I don't quite remember, but I think by spoilers. I'm getting into other stuff, but so far the story is pretty contained. Even later on, I don't know how long this book series is going to go, because they're gonna have to go pretty intense soon, because so far it's just everyday life stuff and like stuff happening here and there. But so far I really enjoy this episode. The opening with its slight changes were pretty good. The ending is as good as always. I love the music. The scenes are pretty well animated. The designs are still pretty like top notch. Like this could be seen as generic, but the designs and stuff like that are pretty good. I would have liked it if it was leaned more towards the way that the manga looks, with reactions stuff like that and scenes. But some of the scenes they go a little bit longer with, which is pretty awesome to see. And overall this episode was pretty good. I really enjoy the adaptation that they're doing each week, with some scenes going a little bit longer, scenes being shown differently, or reactions. The voice actors are like cool as always. They're exactly what I would have thought for these characters. And at the beginning of the episode I thought that Himiko was acting weird, because she was acting a little bit nicer than she was in the manga, because she's always angry. Like she's never nice unless it comes with Mei. But that's pretty much what I thought about this episode. It was really good, and I can't wait for next week. If you like this review of me talking about stuff that has to do with the manga or in the anime and scenes that I liked or disliked, leave a like. If you don't like this review, it's okay to leave a dislike. And yeah, hope to see you guys in my next review or my next video, whatever it is. Since my channel is Let's Plays, reviews, and random stuff. Random stuff does happen sometimes, but yeah, see you guys in the next video, and bye. See you later.